Blog Talk Radio.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Welcome to the Losing Your Parents International Radio Show, broadcasting from Portland, Oregon. My name is Lisa A. Snyder, and I've lost both of my parents to cancer when I was in my 20s. When I was 22, I woke up next to my dad who had died from Hodgkin's disease lymphoma, and when I was 27, I watched my mom take her last breath, who she had passed away from AML leukemia. After being present for their illnesses and witnessing their deaths, I had to face life as a young person without them. So I decided it was important to me to connect with other people who have also lost their parents, their mom, just their dad, or both of them. I'm 33 now, and I write and I talk about my journey through healing my grief and, continue to work on life's challenges that come up using creativity and self-expression and experimenting with different things, seeing what works. My blog is losingyourparents.org, and my goal is to bridge the gap between grief and joy at every possible opportunity. If you'd like to get in touch with me, please contact me, losingyourparents.org/contact. And I wanted to let you know I also have a sister site, griefpost.com. It's totally anonymous, free self-expression. No names, no email addresses needed. You can just go there if you want to just share whatever's on your mind or heart. So we're in the middle of a really awesome series I feel really passionate about, called the Getting Organized series. Today is part 4 of the Getting Organized series, and I'm going to be talking about Craigslisting items today. Before I do that, I just wanted to give a shout out to a new friend of mine, David, who had written me about his own blog and sharing some of his intimate thoughts. And he recently posted a blog post called 2 Ways to Feel Better After the Death of a Loved One, No BS. And I think it's a really great article because it's coming from a male perspective about grieving. And I realized that grief is very sensitive, very touch and go, very, very different for everybody kind of thing. And we're all just trying to find ways of coping while we're still hanging out here on Earth, doing our thing, living our lives, trying to understand why our parent left us when they did, trying to grasp why me, why now, what do I do with my life? Who's going to be proud of me? Who do I ask for advice? And trying to navigate life as an adult, as an adult orphan, basically. So I really, really liked his blog post because I don't hear a lot of guys really talking about grief a lot. And he had some strategies that helped him, which I fully support. Number one, he suggested is to journal, and he's got some interesting things here on his blog, and it's dmkthinks.org/blog. That's his blog, and just look for the title 2 Ways to Feel Better After the Death of a Loved One, No BS. So he's got some interesting ways that he, has helped himself. Journaling was one of his strategies, and he's got an example here that I think is brave to share and beautiful and helpful. And here's something really cool I never thought about until I read his blog post, but reading children's books. So why is that a strategy? Well, there's a lot of children's books out there that actually talk about grief, and I think the person who is grieving, like me or you, is just a little child who's sad that their parents died and is having a hard time dealing with it. And so why not come from the child perspective, the inner child inside you, which is always there all the time. So he has a list of books that, took him 5 or 10 minutes to read them. Like something, here's a couple of examples he mentions on his blog post. Samantha Jane's Missing Smile, a story about coping with the loss of a parent. Everett Anderson's Goodbye. The Invisible String, Am I Like Daddy? The Scar, Goodbye Mousy, and I Heard Your Daddy Died. So I never thought about reading children's books as a way of coping, but I really think that's a very strong point that David's making. That really helped him to heal, and I just thought it was great, and I wanted to share that with you. So I'll be posting that on my blog when I post the show, and on Craigslist. I'm talking about Craigslist today, on Facebook today. And I want to thank David for reaching out and sharing his blog post with me. I felt it was very special. I felt like it was very, very brave. And, it is vulnerable to share your feelings with other people. It's hard. So thank you, David. So today I'm going to be talking about how to deal with your parents' stuff and work with Craigslist. So Craigslist is, if you don't know what it is, it's basically like an online advertising system. It's been around for over 10 years. And it's very simple. If you just Google Craigslist, you're most likely to come up with a local Craigslist that's local to the closest city to you. So right now I'm in Portland. When I Google Craigslist, portland.craigslist.org is the Craigslist that comes up. It's free to post on there, and they've got a bunch of categories. In fact, I'm going to pull this up now. I suggest getting an account there. Again, it's free. So sign up with their email address. I think there's only a few things that they ask for, just like your name and your email address, etc. And then you can start posting. I recommend taking a look at what Craigslist is about. If you're not familiar with Craigslist, take a look to see how people are writing their posts and how, what their selling points are, and notice what things you feel pulled to read and what things you want to skip over, because you're going to use that information later when you're creating your ad. So if you are familiar with Craigslist and you already have an account, awesome. You can skip over all of the beginning parts of this. So some suggestions I have is, if you have some things that you're ready to sell and you feel like, yes, they're in good condition, they're not broken, it's worth looking into, and you already feel like you definitely want to give this a try, I have a bunch of tips and tricks here that I've used. I've been Craigslisting for many, many years, and I went through all of my parents' stuff, and there's things that I ended up putting on Craigslist and, finding a buyer for them and using that money to travel across the country and move. And, of course, you can use that money that you make in whatever way. When I sold my mom's car, I split the money with my brother, and then I put that money into an envelope, and I labeled it From Mom or Love Mom, or, so like anytime I wanted to buy myself something that was from my mother, since she's not here to buy it for me, I would use that money and buy it for myself, and therefore my mother was sort of gifting me something. So it's a creative way of using the money that you make from the sales. So I'm very passionate about this topic, and I have a lot of experience Craiglisting. So some things I'd like to share with you are, again, if you're confident that this is something that you want to sell, look it up to make sure that other people are selling it. Maybe it's a hot item and not a lot of people, are selling something like what you have. Maybe there are a lot of people, which both of them are good. If there's a lot of people selling it, yes, there's more competition, but that means that it's sort of like something that people want. Although I guess as I'm saying that, like if there's if there's like 1,000 copies of, I don't know, VHS tape, maybe there's a lot of copies because no one's buying them. This is going to have to be a trial and error and process, but I just go to see if anyone else is selling it first of all, and then I sort of see what they're asking for it, so I can sort of gauge what I thought I could get for it, what other people are trying to sell it for, and use that information to make the value of my item and post that value. The second thing I do, I take clear pictures of all angles, or as many angles as possible. You can upload, I think, up to 20 photos of something, so most people don't need it. But, a lot of times people are searching through Craigslist and they're looking at thumbnails of an item. So if you make your item look very attractive and you add a picture, you're going to increase the amount of people who are clicking on it, because people like pictures. They want to see what it is they might be buying. They're shopping. You have to think about it as someone who's shopping online. So I don't know if you know this, but Craigslist actually has an app, at least for iPhone that I know of, and probably for Android, that you can do everything you want from your phone. So you can take pictures with your phone and upload them from your phone and just make your life a lot easier, especially if you're working on cleaning stuff up. You can put something on Craigslist as you're working, which is really, really cool. The next thing you want to do is write a clear description of the items or the things that you're selling, the things that you think are important for people to know about it. Here's a few ideas I have about that. People want to know what it is, how old it is, how used it is, if there's anything wrong with it. So you don't want to advertise something is in great condition if there's a leg missing, You want to communicate that. And of course, people are going to use that as leverage to get it for cheaper, but you want to have a balance of trying to sell this item, but also being honest about what's going on with it, so that so no one's time is wasted. Let's say there's a couch you want to sell and there's a huge stain on it, but you don't tell anybody that. You don't take any pictures of it, and then you've organized someone coming to visit, and they've driven to your house, and all of a sudden they're standing there and they see the stain and they are like, I don't want the couch. Your time is wasted, the other person's time is wasted. So just save yourself time and energy, and if there's something wrong with it, just note it, and so that people are in the know. Yeah. How old is it? People want to know if it's 20 years old or 2 years old. How used is it? They want to know if you've used it a couple of times and it just didn't work out for you, or if it was very used. There's actually on the ads themselves, many of the different categories have, what kind of condition it's in, that you can label it, which is really helpful when people are trying to decide what they want to buy. I also like to add why I don't want it anymore. Some people don't do that, but I did. Especially because it was my parents' stuff, because some people think you're getting rid of it because it's broken or because it just, it's an item you don't want anymore. But I just added to the bottom of my ads, this was my parents, I'm cleaning out their stuff, and this is something that, could go to good use, could go to a good home. So if you know what you want to sell it for, try putting it out there. Like maybe you have a table, you think you can get $100 for it. Decide what you think the minimum amount that you take for an item is. So let's say you think you could get 100, but you would take 60. Don't put it up for 60. Put it up for 100, or put it up for 110 or 120, and see if you get any bites, because everybody wants to negotiate from Craigslist, and the likelihood of you actually getting what you're asking for is very, very slim. I think that's a constant misunderstanding of people when they're trying to sell on Craigslist, is that they think they're going to get what they're asking. And, you can play around with that. Like, let's say your table that you're trying to sell, I'm using a table as an example. Let's say a table you're trying to sell is probably worth $100. You would take $60 for it, put it up for $120, and see if you get any bites. If no one's emailing you, then it's time to go back into your ad and make it some adjustments. You can adjust the price and make it 110 or 100 or 90 and just keep doing that. At some point in time, whatever the item is, someone's going to want it, and the lower the cost is, the more bites you're going to get. Maybe you need to adjust your title. Maybe it's not clear what it is. If you're just putting up, table for sale, that's not as interesting as handmade oak table. So think about the wording of the title of the Craigslist ad and, change that. We currently have our RV for sale, and I've changed the title several times and changed the price several times and added things and taken away and constantly tweaking the ad. It's a higher ticket item, so it's going to take a little bit longer to sell, but the right person is going to come along and they're going to see the title first, and they're going to see the pictures, and then they're going to scroll through and see if there's anything in the ad itself that is calling to them. So this is actually where I want to talk about how do people get in touch with you. So there's several ways that people get in touch with you via Craigslist. There's an anonymous email address that you can assign to your ad so that nobody knows what your email address is, and it just creates a Craigslist email that you can sort of go back and forth on when you're communicating with somebody. I recently, for the purposes of selling things here in Portland, created a Google Voice number, which you can create if you've got a Gmail account or a Google account. And you can make it any number you want. They've got 1 million phone numbers in there. I actually was lucky to get a 503 number, which is the area code here, which is local. I felt like it might be a smart idea if I'm going to be selling things locally to get a local phone number. And you can set it up so that it forwards to your phone, to your cell phone or to any other phone. You can have it call multiple phones. So let's say you and your husband or wife are selling items. You can have it hooked up to both cell phones so that it calls both phones when someone calls that number, which is really, really cool. If someone leaves a message, Google can interpret what they think the message said, which is kind of funny because it's not always accurate, but they try. And it actually will email you, and if you wanted to, text you what the message is. It also has text messaging. So in the case that you would like people, and you find texting easier, which I do, easier and quicker, you can set it up for, text me if you'd like to set up an appointment to view, and it will text message your phone number, and then they don't know what your cell phone number is. They just know what your number is, what your Google Voice number is. You don't have to tell people the Google Voice number. You don't have to tell anybody anything. When you're calling people back, though, that's a whole other thing. If you don't want anyone to know your cell phone number, you have to use the Google Voice app, or you have to log into Google and click, the phone call button, type in the person's phone number, and then tell it to call your phone. There is a delay, which is a little bit annoying, but when you're talking to someone on the phone, you talk, and then there's some time it takes to get that message over to the other person. So that's why I like the texting option the best. And then sometimes if I feel comfortable enough, I'll just call them back from my own cell number. And I know it's a little confusing sometimes, but I find that it has been a really, really awesome tool, especially when trying to keep things separate as far as selling things go on Craigslist. And so I can also archive the messages, the texts, and the emails and stuff, and put them into categories, and that's it's really, really helpful. So getting in touch, so you can have people email you. You can make your email public on the Craigslist ad. You can have people text or call you. I would like to say that I think the most challenging and honestly a little bit annoying thing about Craigslist is that there are a lot of flaky people. They will text you and they'll say, I'm interested, and then you won't hear back. You might get some emails about it. And so I've created some things that I find to be the most strategic as far as actually getting people to commit to coming. because it just takes a lot of time and energy to do. So what I do is when someone says, "Hi, I'm interested. Is your RV still available?" I'll use the RV as an example because it's it's happening right now. I'll say, "Yes, it is. Would you like to set up an appointment? What coming openings do you have?" I try to say openings because when you say schedule, people get all detailed and like locked into a rabbit hole of what they can't do sometimes. So I just use the word what kind of upcoming openings do you have so that people think about when are they open and available versus what days are they not available and then working from that point. I also offer, if I only have specific timelines, which I have a little bit more flexibility. I work from home, and so I'm not locked into a lot of different kinds of times. So I'll say something like, I'm available tomorrow. Are you available tomorrow night between 5 and 7 p.m.? I also have availability. You want to actually get people in the door quickly. So if the only day you can meet is on Saturday, they might be looking for your item and might need to meet quicker than, waiting several days to meet with you. So you want to offer it quickly. Offer the meeting quickly. Talk about what upcoming openings you have. And then once you find your time, a time that works, I would say, great. Here's the thing about meeting people on Craigslist. Okay, so these are strangers. These are people who are never met before, most likely. And if your item is small, I recommend meeting in a public space. It kind of sounds sketchy, but that's really, in my opinion, the smartest thing to do. If your item is small and you can carry it with you, meet in like a grocery store parking lot or like a Target parking lot, some kind of shopping mall parking lot where there's public. There's more people walking around. I also ask, confirm in the email, saying like, please bring let's say I also sold my iPhone. Please bring $100 in cash. A lot of times, people will ask you, could you do 90? And then that's up to you whether or not you could do that or not. People try to negotiate. They will negotiate with you most likely. Some people say yes, and then when they get to you, they're like, oh, I only have $90, or would you take 90? Like they don't. Negotiating, I find, is really awkward and uncomfortable, and I don't like it at all, honestly. So I try to set myself up for success as far as avoiding that as much as possible. Like with the Craigslist ad with the iPhone, I said, please bring $100 in cash, and then she did. So other times it's I don't know. I just find it incredibly awkward, honestly. But so if you have a small item, you can meet in a parking lot or something. If you've got a larger item like our RV, we meet where the RV is parked. It's just easier that way. I always communicate where I'm going and any contact information with my fiance, just so she knows that I'm meeting somebody. I think it's just a smarter thing to do. Not trying to scare anybody, but I just think it's smart. Communicate with your loved ones about what you're doing, where you're going, as far as meeting strangers out in public. When we were selling things on Craigslist from our old house, we did have several people come to the house to see things like a mattress and like a bed and stuff like that. And the only way to really get them to see it is if they come to your house. So I get contact information, a phone number, and if someone's coming to the house, I talk to them. I have a conversation with them, and I use my intuition whether or not it's a smart idea to have a stranger come over to my house. And sometimes it's a little bit of a risk. Like we sold our tow dolly on Craigslist, and we gave out our address to people who we talked to, and because it's the only way they're going to come see it because it lived at our house. And, it felt uncomfortable, but you have to sort of take that risk if you want to sell on Craigslist sometimes. So those are a couple of options as far as meeting people goes. And let's see. I have wrote some notes here about what I wanted to share with you. So I've also find this is really helpful. I ask people to text me when they're on their way and then also when they arrive at the place or a meeting. I do that because some people forget that they made an appointment with somebody. So I'll communicate like, hey, let me know when you're on your way. And they'll be like, okay, I'm leaving now. I'll be like, oh, well, how long do you think it's going to take you? Or like, where are you coming from? Or, try to be helpful and kind of customer servicey about it because you want to sell this item. I also ask them to text when they arrive in case I'm not there yet or I have to go meet them, like in the case of the RV where I have to open up the gate. So this also gives me information that they're serious and they're willing to travel to meet me, and that they're, good communicators are probably the best people to work with as far as Craigslist goes. If you don't hear from somebody, if they don't call you back, and I just kind of move on. I'm like, you're not interested. It's a little bit of a weird dance. Can be uncomfortable, but if you're trying to like make things easy as far as selling some of your parents' stuff goes, this is the way to do it. This is one way to do it, I should say. If you don't get any bites, like I said, go back and you can also just renew it. Sometimes it's just like there's so many other posts that gets pushed to the bottom and then no one can see it. So after a couple of days, you can go back to your Craigslist account, and there should be a little renew button up there. Sometimes I edit it and then update it again, and then every time you edit it, it also gets renewed. Some people might flag your post if they find it appropriate or if you're trying to link to other websites, etc. So if that happens, just copy and paste the old ad and repost it somewhere. And just note what you think it got flagged for. You probably know what it might have gotten flagged for if you're not sure. Just put it up again. Some people are just weird. So got about 2 minutes left here. I'm trying to think if I covered all the bases. Here's a couple of examples of things that were sold in the past, and just to give you some idea about what kind of wording we used. Professional lateral file cabinet, 30 inches wide by 18 inches deep by 29 inches high. Okay, so that's very specific. Someone who's looking for a professional lateral file cabinet might find it better. You want to think like somebody who's going to be searching. Think like somebody who's going to be searching through Google. Think like somebody who's going to be searching for these things. Be very as specific as you possibly can be, because you'll save yourself time and energy if people know what it is that they're looking for. Tool belt, porter, cable, roofing, nailer, gun, and nails. Okay, so what's being used here? It's the name of the kind of cable, or porter cable. Maybe people know what that is. Let's see. Huge 4-piece L-shaped desk and all office equipment for sale. That one actually didn't sell. Some of the office equipment I feel like did, but I was trying to package it all in one, and I learned that didn't really work out best. But a lot of people are looking for L-shaped desk, so I made sure that I used that as the title. Navy blue soft leather jacket, size small. So people want to know sizes of things. If it's clothing you're trying to sell, if it's a jacket, I would say, like, if it's less than $10 you're going to make and you're not hard up on the cash, like you don't really need it, don't spend your time trying to sell something that's $10. Like, unless you really, 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 really need the money, just donate it. That's what I would suggest. So I want to thank you for being with me today. I think this is a really important topic. If you have any questions about Craigslisting, shoot me an email. Go to my website, losingyourparents.org/contact. Thanks so much.